Hey there, this is Akshay Madan and welcome back to a new video. In this video, we'll be learning about encapsulation, which just means enclosing some things. So what do I mean by some things? So they mean data members like variables or functions, methods, right? So whenever you want to define a class, every part of that class is not exposed, right? Every data member, every variable, every method, function is not exposed or should not be exposed. Some things need to be enclosed. So for that, there is a concept called encapsulation. So let's see with the help of an example, like how you can implement it in Python. So I'm going to define a class, right? And in this class, whenever I create a new student, whenever I create a new object of the student, I want to initialize it. Uh, I want to initialize some variables like name and age of that student. So I'll say self dot name is equal to name and self dot age is equal to age. So these two are public variables. Okay, that means I can access the value of these variables from outside of this class. Okay, this is the class. Outside of the class means if I create a new object, I should be able to access uh, these two variables. So public variables. We also have some private variables, which I can only access from this class, within this class, but I cannot access them outside the class from the objects. Okay, so they are called the private variables. Okay, like grades of the student should not be exposed like that, right? So those we define like this, self dot, and in Python you say double underscore, and it becomes a private variable or a method automatically. So self.grades is equal to empty for now. We also have a concept of protected variables, okay? And these are mainly used when you want some variables to be only accessed from inherited classes. Like if I create another class which takes this class as the parent class, so from those classes I should be able to access these variables, and that's why we call them as protected variables. That means they are only accessed from this class and outside of the class. Like you can also access them from the objects of this class, but it is not recommended. Okay, so let's define a variable and protected variables you define using single underscore. And let's say student ID is equal to formatted string. Okay, like this is your student ID. So I'll wrap it up and self dot age and self dot name. Okay, great. So like this, encapsulation is implemented in Python. You have public variables, private and protected. Now let's define functions. So functions can also be public functions and protected and private functions. So for a public function, let's say whenever I want to add a new grade, let's say the student gave an exam and he got a new grade. So for that, I'm going to define add grade function. So it is going to add, uh, it is going to take self dot grades and add this new grade into the list dot add, oh sorry, dot append uh, the grade which I just got. Okay, and I can print grade added for the student. So name, sorry, self dot name, and this is a formatted string. Okay, awesome. Uh, Next function is also going to be a public function. So def, and this function is for finding the average for the student. So I'll say self, and I am going to calculate the average, which is going to be sum of the grades divide by length of the grades. Self dot grades. Okay, I'll return this average, and I'll also print formatted string average is equal to avg. Okay, great. So these two are public functions. Now we also can define private functions and protected functions. For private function, let's say, or for protected functions first, let's say I want to find a GPA, but that GPA I don't want to create as a public function. Okay, so I'll say, so again, single underscore, um, find, and GPA you're going to calculate like this. So GPA is equal to, first of all, I will be calculating the average. So find average, and I'm going to, and this is going to be self dot find average by 4. Okay, so this is a protected function. It is meant for inherited classes. And if I create private function, so one private function is going to be for checking the status of the student, whether he has passed or not. And why I'm creating this function as private, but first of all, let me create the function. Again, double underscore, status, or is passing, status is passing, and this is going to return Boolean. So I can also define it like this, Boolean, and it is going to first of all find the average. So self dot find average, and if it is greater than equal to 60, then the person has passed. Okay. But this is a private function. Why? Because this computation logic, like whether the person or the logic that is actually finding whether the person has passed or not, should be private, because I don't want my client to worry if this logic has to change in the future. It can be directly changed from within the class, and I will define a public function which actually gets the status. So get status, and this is going to take help of this private function. Sometimes this is also done, right, where you define the logic behind a private function, and the client facing function is a public function. Okay, so I'll define return self dot is passing like this. Okay, so public function is not worrying about the logic. Logic is in the private function. Okay, so we have done everything. Now let's try to consume this class with the help of an object. So I'm going to create an object, student is equal to student, and I'm going to name it Akshit 24, and I can access student. I'm going to print student dot name. I can do it, right? And I can also access the age. Can I access uh, the student ID? Yes, I can. It is not recommended, but I can. It's a protected data member. And can I access the grades? No. Here it should fail. Okay, so if I just open the terminal and I can say Python 3 sample.py, you see Akshit 24, my ID, but after that it failed because grades is a private data member, so I cannot access it. Now, if I add a grade to the student, add grade, and I can add like 30. Okay. Can I access the average function? Yes, I can. So find average. Okay, I'll save it and I'm going to run it. Okay, it is failing over here, so I'll just comment it, save it. I'll run it, and average is 30. Okay. And now if I try to access the GPA, find GPA, I should be able to access it. And I can just return the GPA, but let me just print the GPA also. And let's print the GPA like this. Let's clear it, run it, and I can see my GPA is 7.5. Why two averages? Because GPA is also calling the find average, and it is going to print the average. Okay, so that's why. Now, if I try to access is passing function, so student dot is passing, it is going to fail over here, okay, because it's a private function. So this one, if I want to get the status of pass, then I need to call get status. So see, private functions cannot be called from outside of the class. You have to define a public function to call the logic function which is behind a private function. Okay, awesome. So that's it. This is simple, right? I don't want to cover it in the advanced Python series, but this is actually important to understand the upcoming lectures. So that's why I made this video. So till the next video, keep coding, keep innovating, and thanks a lot.